And you mentioned, the Colorado scene, and that's another thing I like to dive into because there's some really interesting scenes from the people I talked to. For example, I talked to Tyler Bateman, who actually messaged me not long before this to both bring up the fact that he has a lot of respect for you and that he plans to do a number on you in June. So I'm just throwing that out there, even though this will be posted after that, so we'll see what the
Yeah.
results end up being. But just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect any less of him. Me and him have, I mean, I've wrestled him probably like double digits amount of times, and there's been bloodshed and all that, but it's all respect. I'm gonna do a number right back on him. So I
Perfect.
uh, I I ain't scared.
But the thing I was going to get at, he's from Oklahoma originally, so he had this
Yep.
Oklahoma wrestling scene. Tim Storm was from Arkansas. You had Yuma doing California. You had Sal doing like the Carolinas. You had who else? Caprice in Georgia. So as you can see, it's very spread out. What was
Yeah.
the Colorado scene like? Because it's not exactly somewhere that's known as a hotbed, but I'm curious about if there was a lot of wrestling because you talked about traveling early, which a lot of people don't do. So I'm curious about that as well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It was dog shit. No, it was not great to be honest. Um, it was rough when I got in. It's in a much better place now. Um, there were a few different shows in town as well as a couple lucha shows, but I think it was such a like okay, so especially back then there was a lot of infighting and like, oh, if you work this show then you can't work that show. So I think that's partly why I knew I needed experience, and so I was doing Lucha Libre and Last, and I was doing Primos, which were kind of my home promotions, and then every once in a while I could do New Era or it was called NRW, it's called RMP now,
And how
but
far were these all apart? Were these like an hour within 2 hours, or were they like across state?
no, they were all within, everything was in Denver,
Okay.
really. So like these are all, whatever, 30 minutes from each other or something. But like also it's not like anyone was really lighting the world on fire back then. So like it was just kind of silly and territorial of everyone, oh, don't do this show, don't do that. It's like, guys, we all just need to get better at wrestling, to be honest. So I think that was part of my thing though, was I was like, okay, well, I can't just do these two shows and some random lucha shows and get better. So pretty quickly I was traveling and going to like NWA Top of Texas, which was in Amarillo, or like UCW Zero, which was in Utah. I was like, let me get myself out there and try to make some connections and whatnot. And then UCW led to me kind of meeting some people like Hammerstone, who hooked me up with Paragon and stuff like that. So then I was able to travel even more, and then I'm going to Vegas and whatnot. And eventually, I was working all the Denver shows, and they're like, I mean, the quality in Denver is much better now. Lucha Libre and Laughs has blown up so much that like they every time they sell out, and they'll do like we have in the, it'll be after this airs, but like they're doing a 2 day event um at the beginning of June, and like both days will be crazy, like sold out. The Oriental Theater, the O, excuse me. It's what the theater's name is. But they'll probably have like 600 people there, standing room only.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, it's like a crazy good crowd. Honestly, the biggest thing with that is they need to get into streaming, because fans would love that show streamed, because they do stand up comedy in between matches, and it's like a great environment. It's like a great wrestling environment. I think the problem is the theater is not very good for, like, it's got like a bunch of old thick walls that would make streaming a little bit harder, but their stuff on YouTube is phenomenal. Um, this place called New Era Wrestling that just shut down after 13 years. They were building something really cool there. Like they had like 400 to 500 people, I want to say, on their last couple of shows. In at their last couple of shows, I had a strap match with a young up and coming talented kid, Logan Austin from Denver. And so like there is some better quality wrestling, I would say, for sure, than when I started out, but the scene was definitely not great when I came into the scene. But I think that was part of like not to my own horn or pat myself on the back too much, but I think for young kids who were all in relatively good shape and could work somewhat, like that helped develop the scene a little bit. Like it was like, oh,
Yeah.
we got to kind of all step our game up, and like there's some new kids in town and whatnot. And there were some other young up and comers at other schools too that were like in fairly decent shape. Or then he now goes by Dak Draper. At the time, he was Sammy Six Guns. He had gone to NXT, and then he'd gotten fired and come back. And so him coming back and being, I mean, if people are not familiar, you should be. But if you're not, he's like 6'5", 250. He's jacked. He's handsome. He can cut a promo. He can wrestle really well. So like someone like that had that NXT experience coming back and kind of helping teach us and improve the scene and show people how it's supposed to really be done, I think helped a lot too.